who is the ideal MBA candidate.
Okay.
तो I joke around थोड़ा सा कि मेरे को लगता था जो इंग्लिश बोलता है वो अच्छा है, but that's not the placement time. We found that he was not getting the best job on campus. Then we thought who are good in academics they will get the job, उनको नहीं मिला. तो this is a well start.
Candidate for doing MBA?
नहीं, candidate in MBA college who is the best candidate
Achha.
to get placement, because end role is placement. I
Okay.
believe end role of most of the people are going to placement. Start किया हमने?
हाँ नहीं किया था
हाँ वो हम बात ही करते हैं.
हाँ चल ओके स्टार्ट.
Hi guys, today we are here with sir. Sir, I want to understand कि ideal MBA क्या है? In your eyes, who is the ideal candidate? If I give my example, when I was doing my MBA, I thought the person who talks well is a good MBA. But when the top speaker of the batch couldn't get the top job, I realized there is something wrong. Then I thought कि the one who are good in academics, topper, this and that, get a top job. वैसा भी नहीं हुआ, उनको भी top job नहीं मिला. So then I realized कि this is not about just one thing. So who is, maybe if you have come across a student who was like the best student, like he is a kind of ideal MBA student. So today we want to know from you who is the ideal MBA candidate. Why I'm asking this question? So that all our students, if they can even become half of that, they will do good in life, or they will at least learn from the MBA degree. Placement अच्छा मिलेगा. So it's kind of a mix of everything, not from the placement point of view. In general, he will be successful as an MBA.
Okay. In my view, a person who knows what he wants to do in life. Many times you come across candidates who do a certain things, MBA or PGDM, just because everybody else is doing it. There has to be a purpose behind what a person is doing and why he is doing it. What is he having in mind? So what happens is there are every year I interview so many students for admissions. I take the final round of interview, and sometimes it is very disheartening that, for example, a student who has done his BBA or BCom or BFA, such students do not have knowledge of the basics of accounting, and they have spent 3 years studying that, and they have got a degree in that. So unless involvement is there with an idea to understand and retain, because understanding things like, for example, financial statements, cash flow statements, balance sheets, these are the basic, for example, financial accounting documents, a BCom graduate should at least be aware of. We should be able to talk about it. But it is, so in my view, a student who is involved in what he is doing.
So knowledge basically,
knowledge.
In terms of not academic record, knowledge.
Academic record could say something, but many a times I have seen the academic record does not actually reflect how he can communicate what he knows. He may have written good in the answer sheet and scored very good marks, but when it comes to relating to somebody or talking about in a response to a question, sometimes I find that missing. So a knowledge is essential, but at the same time it should be, you should be able to access that knowledge when you actually need to talk about it.
Sir, you answered a very important question, because a lot of time now people think and say, "Arey, I got a very good academic record. Why I was rejected? This and that." So this also for that. You might be very good on paper, but when it comes to talking or how much retained or how much knowledge you have got, so don't look at the academic record. Look at the knowledge you have gained.
Knowledge you have gained, and invariably in practical life, at maybe in a corporate job or in entrepreneurship, it is not what you can write and give that matters. It is how you communicate it and how you can deal with people. Mainly it is dealing with people. In businesses, for example, how you deal with your client, how you deal with the other stakeholders, how you can market your product. Practically how you can put it into use is what matters. You may be able to write supplements and supplements of any subject, but unless you can translate it into actionable points, that is, I don't think, of much use.
Right. Great. Okay. Other points?
Other points, I may be a little biased here because I have a defense background, and I had worked hard to get into the Air Force in the flying branch as a pilot. So I was focused on that in my graduation years. I did NCC, Airwing NCC, and finally managed to get through. And since I recollect my journey in which Fortunately, I had got people who gave me tips about it, about reading newspapers, magazines, and improving my general awareness and all, improving general group discussion skills. So, my view of looking at it is that your knowledge should be something. Uh, One is you should have all-round knowledge. It's not that if I'm doing PGDM or MBA, I only focus on my curriculum and nothing beyond that. Uh, the fast-paced today's world requires an individual to know almost something about everything. Say, for example, what is happening in the world, one needs to know what is happening in your own country in terms of the economy, in terms of the industries, in terms of the employment scenario, in terms of the new fields which are developing like data analytics, Internet of Things, artificial intelligence. One should know something about everything. You may not be an engineering student, but you should know that these are the areas, emerging areas, cutting edge areas which are coming up. And general awareness is something which I feel gives a person edge in situations like, for example, campus recruitments. When companies come to a campus, good companies, they come in this, Coca-Cola or some such like companies. Uh, when they come to the campus, they do not have the time. Say, for example, if you have 40 to 45 students in marketing, they don't have time to interview 45 students. So obviously what they do is divide them into maybe 5 groups of 9 students each, make them sit in a semicircle and give them any topic for a group discussion. Now here is where they weed out students. Out of 9, maybe 3 or 4 would be able to articulate about that topic, and that topic could be anything. It could be current affairs, it could be India's economy, it could be anything. If you can articulate in that forum of 9 students, then those 3 or 4 are the ones who go for the interview round. And that is where you actually get weeded out. So I think even from, not only from job perspective, but also if you are planning to have your own entrepreneurship venture, you have to be alert to the environment. For example, during pandemic time, so many new businesses came up. Why? Because those people were aware that mask requirement hone wali hai. Now there's going to be sanitizer requirement, and these people adapted so quickly, and they came out with so many different brands of sanitizers came in the market. Different types of masks came up. Even roadside vendors started selling masks. So people have to be alive, and they have to be open to opportunities which come up. That's my opinion.
When I was doing my MBA ना, most out of 10, 5 faculty say कि तुम किताबें बंद करो चलेगा, लेकिन न्यूज़ पे पढ़ो. तो यार न्यूज़ पे पढ़ के क्या मिलने वाला है? यहाँ मेरा academic record maintain नहीं हो रहा. Now I understand what you're trying to say, कि having the knowledge about the general things, general awareness is very important.
Being alive to the environment. And how can we be alive? I always advise to most of the students whom I interview, if I find them lacking in general awareness. Like, for example, I was shocked when I asked a question, which are the 2 countries at war
Right now.
right now? So there was one student who didn't even know that. So this is a burning issue for the last few months, and then it's shocking to know that somebody can be so ignorant.
So last question, how important is English?
English, whether we like it or not, it is essential if a student is planning to pursue a career in metropolitan cities, Mumbai, Delhi, Calcutta, Madras, Bangalore, Pune, for example, where most of the corporate work is done through the medium of English language. There are students who come from not so privileged backgrounds. So I tell them ki even if you are able to communicate in writing and reasonably, and if you are aware of the local language where you are wanting to pursue your career, for example, if somebody is going to work in, say, Nasik or Ahmednagar or Satara, so the market there is going to be different. If you know the regional language of that particular area and the product line is maybe rural based, then you will be able to thrive and prosper. But if you are looking for competitive markets like metros, then it's a must that you try and put in your very best to improve your English communication skills.
And I think 2 years ka time is more than sufficient for them to understand, to improve themselves.
If
in
one
college.
puts in dedicated effort, it is not difficult.
No different. True.
Reading newspapers, I always, in my interviews also advise them, not only you read newspapers, but for half an hour you read a newspaper loudly so that you can hear your own voice. You will become comfortable to hearing yourself speak English.
Right.
So that has helped me also a lot because I have studied in the KV. My father also was in the Air Force. And KV, all said and done, it is not like convents where students always speak to each other in English language.
Right. True. True. So that is important. So obviously, we don't want you to be expert in English. You don't need to be expert in English. You just need to be able to articulate, communicate. So I intentionally use the word English because that's what people understand. By English, it doesn't mean English. We mean communication. Whether you are able to make everyone understand. So like we are Indian. English is not our first language. Yes, there are some students who are very good in English. So they're very articulative. That's good for them. But for other 90%, you have to communicate. And 2 years is more than sufficient time to improve yourself.
Reading a lot of books, as many as you can. You got a wonderful library here. And I always encourage students, only yesterday I was talking to this batch, and I was telling them, read a lot, because that develops a storehouse of, knowledge in your mind, and words, you become more and more familiar with the words, and you don't hesitate to use those words in everyday language.
True. Great. So thank you, sir. Thank you very much for your class.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
So I have to